The NBA gives us 14 games, so I give you a Friday recap. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I've got a mad bunda. And I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok, at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. You're a double banger? Well, you better bloody be, because this is a Friday show. I've got my beer in hand. We're ready to crack on and discuss 14 games. So go and watch the video if you're an audio person. If you're a video person, go download and listen to the audio version. Thumb it up, ring the bell, and leave your comments down below. We're here to talk about the action from Friday because, again, the NBA schedule just has no idea what they're doing, and they chuck a 14-gamer on. No one needs that. We don't need every single team playing on a random Friday in January. What would be the purpose of that? I don't know, but that is where we are. Now, I'm not going to do the full recap show as the way I like to get into these bonus recaps. We're not going to look at waiver wire trends, and we're not going to talk news, and we're not going to probably not even going to do the full monstrous line of the night stuff because I just got 14 games, and I'm just going to try and get as much info out as I can. Jazz Celtics is the first one of these games up, and I'm going to just warn you now, there were an absolutely huge amount of spankings in this slate of games. The Jazz lose 97-125, and if I was sitting here telling you that I have any more of an idea of what's going on with Utah, I'd be lying, because I don't. They continue to start John Collins over Walker Kessler. Collins played 22 minutes and had 12 and 11, probably one of Collins' best games, but I just could not care less. You do not roster him in 10 or 12 or 14-team leagues.
Get that garbage out of here!
As for Kessler, well, I know it's not great to see 4 and 7 in 14 minutes and no blocks. He didn't win you blocks by himself this week, but he is still a top 60 player over the last week, and he's still 80th for the season. So while it's been disappointing, especially if you reached into round 2 or round 3 or round 4, it hasn't been as much of a disaster as a couple of other guys that we are going to talk about later on in the show. The guards, no idea. Last game, Clarkson and Sexton both went off. This game, they were both not very good. Although, to be fair, Sexton had 13 points with 3 steals, which is all right, but he played 20 minutes. Clarkson, whose last 2 games had been amazing, had 2 points in 17 minutes because, of course, he did. I think at this point, they're both sort of soft 12-team holds, but if you needed to move on, I think you'll be all right. As for Keontae George, he had 12, 4, and 1. That's okay, but I don't think we're looking at him in 12-teamers anymore. While my skepticism on Simone Fontecchio played out. This is why I wasn't gung-ho about him being a must-add. 7, 4, and 3, 2 threes, 29%. That's not 12-team worthy. If you want to hold on to him, by all means, do it. But it's not like we haven't had a sizable sample of him starting all season. The last couple were good, but I just didn't believe in him as that player. I think he's a fringe 12-team league guy, and that is it. Markkanen, 17, 5, and 5, while Chrissy Dunn had 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block, but shot 14%. But basically every player on this team I just don't understand. I don't get what's going to happen with them. They played the entire fourth quarter with Yurtseven, Horton, Tucker, and Sharmanich in there. Agbaji sucks. Like, this whole team is bad. It's not exactly true, but wasn't a good one. And their rotation's tough to figure out. So therefore, we didn't get much out of the Celtics. Well, we got 29, 9, and 5 from Tatum. We got 14 and 6 from Holiday. We got Maximum Derek having 10, 7, and 3, but inefficient with a steal and a block. And Slam and Sammy Hauser had 13 with 3 threes in a game that Al Horford was sitting in. So Horford will play tomorrow. I don't really know what the takeaway here is. This game was over very quickly. These guys were all pulled off late in the third quarter. We ran with Lamar Stevens and bloody Delano Banton and Emmaus Cater, the Pastel de Nata. Peyton Pritchard had 7 points in 23 minutes. I see not a single takeaway from the Celtics, apart from me reminding you that they do play a game tomorrow. Game 2, the Pacers smacked the Hawks 151-16. That brings us to talk from Chris Haynes that he thinks DeJounte Murray is definitely getting traded this season, and that's fine. Again, a horrible trade to get DeJounte into the team. And I know there are some thoughts that maybe DeJounte was going to be the guy that they were really keen on. I never really bought that. That contract extension they signed him to indicated that they didn't think he was that sort of franchise-level player. And I'm not actually sure if he gets traded or where it's to that much changes in his production. Although, to be fair to DeJounte, 30 points on 68% shooting is awesome. The problem is he had 1 rebound, 2 assists, and nothing else. Only had 29 minutes out of Jalen Johnson. Did I even tell you the score? Because the Pacers dropped another 150 on the Hawks, 150 to 116. Jalen had 12, 8, and 3, which is okay, and he is very much looking like their second best player. While this was an absolute disaster class from Trae Young. 13, 2, and 6, 22% shooting, played 22 minutes. He did conjure up 2 steals, but just an absolute stinker from Trae, which is going to happen, but it happened in a big way. Bogdanovic has lost a ton of momentum with Jalen Johnson back. I know they don't play the same position, but we have seen this. 16 and 4 in only 23 minutes for Bogdan, 21% shooting, and he is now 200th over the last 2 weeks and back to 79th for the season. I think he's going to settle around the 100 mark would be my guess. You can go and jack the depressed penis Sadiq Bey.
Get that garbage out of here.
9 and 4 in 30 minutes for him. He's fine to hold. He's fine not to. And also, we're at that stage now. We're 11 weeks into the season. If you're in a 10-team category league, a 10-team points league, a 12-team points league, and Onyeka Okongwu can go.
Get that garbage out of here.
I don't know that they'll trade Clint Capella. I've got absolutely no idea what they do. But you can't do it. Now, for a points league, he's been a drop for about 5 weeks. For a 12-team category league, this is where the change probably comes in for Okongwu. If I'm sitting 6th or 7th in the standings, I don't know that I'm bothering to hold on to him at this point. We've seen that there's no crossover with Capella anymore. He actually played more than Capella, 21 to 19 minutes. He had 3 and 6, and he's just, at the moment, like a mid-ish backup center. And I don't like holding on to players waiting for trades. It's not a thing that I like to do, unless I'm a week away from the deadline. For the Pacers, they had a team record 50 assists. Halliburton had 10 and 8 with 18 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Timothy John dropped in 10, 3, and 10 with 3 steals. And as long as Nembhard is out, McConnell has streaming value. And then the rest of the team gave me zero clarification. If the Utah Jazz didn't exist, the Midwest, more northern version of the Utah Jazz would be this team for reasons outside of their confusing rotation. 22 minutes for Brown. He had 17, 3, and 2. Not probably a 12-team league guy. Nesmith, 15, 2, and 3, a triple 1. Looked great. And then got hurt. Will he even play tomorrow? I don't know. He still is getting by at some really good numbers, and he probably is worth a hold. But the minutes are all over the shop. Sticks played 23. He had 11, 2, and 2. That's not enough to hold on to. Obi Toppin, 9, 3, and 2. Not enough to hold on to in 12s. These are maybe 14-team league guys. Mathurin, only 18 minutes. He did score 18 points, but he's really just a points sort of streamer. Isaiah Jackson played 7 minutes. We got 12 minutes out of Jarris Walker, who had 8 points. Bud Hield had 11 in 17 minutes, and you don't need to roster Bud Hield.
Get that garbage out of here.
I would say the only must-rosters here are Halliburton and Turner, maybe Nesmith. It's not Brown, it's not Mathurin, it's not Toppin, it's not Smith, it's not Hield, it's not Jackson. But they play tomorrow, and only 8 teams do. So if you do have those guys, you probably just want to hold for the action for tomorrow, and that's probably about where that's going to end. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Start of the new year, all small business owners will ask themselves the same question. What do I got to do to get this business firing up to the next level in 2024? Well, one of the big keys in any business, one of your big costs in business, but one of the big keys to success is staff. And if you get the wrong staff, well, you might as well just flush your business down the toilet. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes. It creates the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Hiring is easy when you have quality candidates just placed right in front of you. It's so easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses find a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats, and they might not have the time or the resources to hire properly and effectively. So, go and post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. We want to get better, don't we? We just want to always be looking to improve things in our life. And sometimes people will throw out extreme changes. I'm only eating salads for 2024. I am going to be exercising 3 hours a day. Like, bro, there's no way you're going to be able to do this. What therapy is able to do is to help you find the little things, the small positives that you've had in your life, the small changes that you've made, and how you can build on that to bring the next thing up. You might say, well, I started taking a daily multivitamin last year. That's a good start, isn't it? And then you go, well, what's the next thing? Well, it's incorporating more fresh fruit into my diet for the next season. Why do I keep saying season? It's because I'm talking NBA. With BetterHelp, getting therapy can help you identify those strengths and build on them and improve. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no charge. Celebrate the progress that you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Okay, that'll bring us onto the next group of games. We're 2 down, 12 to go. The next one was, you're going to be shocked to hear this, another blowout. The Cavs, for the second consecutive game, blow out the Wizards 114-90. Should we do it? Should we start with this dickhead, Jordan Poole? Has there been a worse game than this all season? 23 minutes for Poole, 2 points, no rebounds, 1 assist, missed all 4 of his shots. And the troubling thing there is not shooting 0%. It's taking 4 shots. The man had 9% usage. 9. I will stand by the process of projecting Jordan Poole horribly wrong. A guy that had 30 usage, got to the line, had assists, scored well, hit threes, who was going to a role where it was likely going to be larger. I'm like, okay, that all makes sense. You couldn't have sat here with a straight face and go, well, there's going to be many games that Jordan Poole actually has a 10% usage, plays 20 minutes a night. There's no way you could tell me that. So, the part of it is the process. Now, the process, clearly turkey slapped me here. Like, it's been useless. And we're at a situation here where if you're in a 10-teamer, you do jack off Jordan Poole.
Get that garbage out of here!
In a 12, I don't know. Part of the thing is, it is incredibly frustrating to deal with whatever this is. I don't even know how to describe what this is. I don't know what's happening with Jordan Poole. There's got to be a large mental component to it. I don't know how to describe what it is. But who, on your waiver wire, has even close to the level of upside of a 25-point per game scorer? And that's probably not even there for Poole anymore. But it sort of is. So what actually, like, who has that upside? Nobody. And that's what makes it a tough call. But yeah, what's actually going on here? The weird thing here with Poole, the last 5 games, he's ranked 301st. That's horrible. But over the last 2 weeks, 163rd. Because you know why? Like 5 games ago, he had like 30 points and 25 points in back-to-back games. He had 55 points in 2 games, like a week and a half ago. And we thought, all right, we've turned it around. And then since then, an absolute disaster. So it's actually not that long ago. I think it was Christmas. It's basically Christmas when he had 30 and 25. And now nothing. I don't understand what's happening. I don't get it at all. I can't rationalize it in my head. I understand moving on, but also think, like, who are you adding? You trying a stream of Pat Connaughton? Does that make any sense? Probably not. It is tough, but it's getting to a stage now where I go, well, if you do drop him, fine, go for it, right? But I also am finding it hard to say that's a blanket must drop. Tobias Jones, I'd be looking to sell high as quickly as I could. 16-1-5 with 2 steals, while Avdia had another solid game, 13-5-4, 2 steals and a block. Dylan Wright, we said he's a good steal streamer. He had 5 of them here. He had 7 points in 16 minutes. I just don't think he's ever going to play enough. And I think he probably sits tomorrow on the back-to-back to be a useful guy in 12s. While Gafford had 4 and 4. Not a good game from him. And Kuzma also sucked. 9 in 25 minutes. What is interesting is that Bilal Coulibaly played 36 minutes. Now, 2 games ago, Bilal went under 20 for 2 consecutive, which made no sense really at all. But it had been trending down. And then Wes Unseld went, are we being too competitive? Do I need to just give all these minutes back to Bilal, or is he only getting these minutes because they got smacked by like 70 combined points in the last 2 games? Bilal had 15 and 7 with a steal and 3 blocks. That's obviously really good. Coulibaly is now 234th over the last 2 weeks and 193rd for the season, which is obviously significantly worse than plenty of other guys on this team. Is he even worth a luxury stash? I'm not sure. I don't know that you can wait that long or if the upside's going to be worth it paying off. But the minutes have trended back up, which is, I guess, encouraging. For the Cavs, second consecutive blowout. Remember, they play 1 game next week. That is obviously key when making decisions about what you're going to do with their players. is it worth holding on to these guys when they don't play at all? So they play on Sunday against the Spurs, and then they play on Thursday against the Nets, and then the following Monday against the Bulls. For some of these guys, we're obviously holding Jarrett Allen, who had 12 and 12 with 2 steals and a block. We're holding Don Mitchell, who had 26, 2 and 4 with 5 threes. And then we get into the question marks. What do you do with Winter Soldier Max Strus, who had one little revival game yesterday, or 2 days ago, and then was back to nothing, 9, 5 and 3. I do think that he is a hold through a one-game week. Karis LeVert is the tougher question because he's 74th over the last 2 weeks. He's top 100 in points leagues. He had 11, 4, and 11 here in 27 minutes. But I do fear that when Darius Garland returns, he won't probably be a must-roster guy. So is he worth holding through a one-game week, LeVert, to maybe get one more week of must-roster after that? That's where I go. I'm not really sure. After Sunday, I'd be inclined to consider LeVert more in categories than points to be a drop. Maybe. But I'm not sold on that. I'm definitely not rostering Craig Porter.
Get that garbage out of here.
7, 4 and 4 as much as I like him. And then Okoro also 8 and 4. That's like a 16 or 18 team league hold, even though he does continue to start at the moment. Was this next one a blowout? Yes. Yes. The Knicks beat the Sixers 128-92. My man, Isaiah Hartenstein, the stubby, 17, 6 and 5, 2 steals and 2 blocks. This is the guy that when he played for the Clippers and then he signed to the Knicks, I went, man, this guy's really good. And I know I copped a lot of shit for it, but guess what? He's really good. He's a very clear must-roster player. If any of you are too busy thumbing your asses to go and pick him up, just take a break for it for 5 seconds and go and do it. Just go and do it. He is available in some leagues. Brunson had 29 points, which is great. A little bit lacking on some of the peripherals, but a steal and a block is nice. While Josh the Hitman Hart had a good game. He has been very up and down. 10, 15, and 6 in 30 minutes. Probably is a 12-teamer. I'm still not 100% convinced. And then we got the old spanner thrown into the engine. Or what's it called? Throw a spanner into the works. That's what it's called. Because DiVincenzo had been starting, and he still started, but he played 17 minutes. He had 14, 2, and 3, which is actually still enough to hold. And they gave the minutes to my Uncut Jam, Quentin Grimes, who played 24 minutes. 19 and 8, 4 threes, 2 assists, a steal, a block. He's right up the very top of my list of guys that need to go to another team and will be top 100 fantasy players. Is this an ad situation for Grimey? I don't think so. In like 16 teamers, maybe. But that was encouraging because we also got Juice McBride dropping 15 points in 15 minutes with 4 threes. The big sneeze continues to suck. He had 5 points in 13 minutes because he is bad. He is bad. Well, Julius Randle had one of his worst games. 9% shooting. 8, 7, and 5. And Anunoby also struggled 11-2 with a steal. The trade to the Knicks has not really changed a single thing for Anunoby. So in terms of analysing their trade, that was one thing that I did. I nailed a few things right on that one, but I think knowing that or analysing that I didn't think there'd be a huge change for OG has worked out okay. So I think we're still holding Hart. We're still holding DiVincenzo. We're looking at Grimey in some deeper ones and keeping a very, very eagle eye on his production. Shout out to 2-minute legend Jericho Sims. Feel sorry for his girlfriend. Tyrese Maxey, 36 minutes, 27, 4 and 9, 2 steals and a block. Good game. Embiid, 30 and 10, 3 blocks. Good game. What about Kelly Oubre chucking in the 3 blocks as well? 15 and 7 in 31 minutes. Big sell high opportunity for Oubre while Melton is out. So try it. Not much else going on. The thick hogsman Toby Harris sprained his ankle. They said x-rays were negative and he's questionable for tomorrow. He had 5 points in 24 minutes. If he is out, it just further gives that Oubre Batum boost, and you get probably a little bit more Marcus Morris and maybe Bob Covington, who didn't play in this game. But we don't know whether Melton Covington are going to be available for Saturday, same as Harris. We got 2 points out of Daniel House. I don't even know why I mentioned that. What is the point of mentioning that? And we got 15 Jaden Springer minutes with Melton out. But yeah, the real thing here is watching what happens tomorrow with Harris, and they got just destroyed like so many other teams did on Friday. Today's episode is brought to you by the old Hungry Root. Whether you're braving the cold or dealing with the crowds, grocery shopping at this time of the year, I didn't even read this part of the copy because I could have done some good stuff with it. Let's try again. Whether you're braving the cold or dealing with crowds, grocery shopping this time of the year is the worst. Wow, that was terrible. I can't hit the high notes like John Ralphio, but why don't you stay home and let Hungry Root serve up one of their boxes right to your front door. With Hungry Root, you can kickstart a week of healthy eating and get groceries delivered right to your door. Save time, money, reduce food waste. That's 3 big key points to getting an old Hungry Root going for the new year. Hungry Root goes beyond your weekly grocery haul with thousands of easy recipes that actually put groceries to good use before they get forgotten in the back of your fridge. The best part of Hungry Root is that it follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, it's got to be quick to make, and contain whole and trusted ingredients. Right now, Hungry Root is offering Locked On NBA channel listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/lockedon to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. Any eggplants? That's hungryroot.com/lockedon. Don't forget to use our link so that they know that we sent you. Can we get a game that is not a blowout? Well, sort of. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were up pretty big, and then they sort of had a terrible second half, let the Thunder back into it. In the end, Brooklyn wins 124-115. It's going to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here. 34, 9, and 6 is good, but no defensive stats, and he decided he was going to be a punt free throw guy today. 10 out of 15 from the line, which is actually horrible. That hurts your team quite a bit. But, we give him a pass. Chet Holmgren had 17 and 6 with a steal and a block. Cool. Only 24 minutes for Josh Giddey. But he's putting up better numbers in those lower minutes. He's not hitting that 29, 30 mark. He's more on the lower range. He had 13, 8, and 5 with a steal and a block in those 24 minutes. And that's enough to be in the 12s. Lou Dort had 12, 4, and 3 with 3 steals in his 28 minutes. And he's playing at a more consistent and solid level. I'm not saying I'm adding him, but I'm at least looking at 14 teamers a little bit more closely. While the Bronco had 20 and 5 with 5 assists, Jalen Williams. Outside of that, not really anything going on. Vasily Micic played 12 minutes for 6 points. Isaiah Joe had 3 points, and Kaysan Wallace had 8 points in his 23 for the Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie. After a couple of real turds, he had 23, 3, and 4 in 33 minutes, and Cam Thomas finally hit a shot after going 0 of 17 the final or the last 2 games. He only played 24 minutes. He had 19, 2, and 0, which is not a great line. He shot 43%, not ideal. But, if I'm going to shit on Cam Thomas when he deserves it, he was a +6 and had 28 usage and was actually pretty okay in this game. We're definitely not adding him. They have a 1-game week next week as well, so we're not adding Cam Thomas for a 1-game week. In fact, if you've got Cam Thomas, you know what you're doing.
Get that garbage out of here.
But it was just good to see a better performance. Cam Johnson appeared like he hurt his hamstring at the end, but it was just a cramp. He didn't play well. 9 points in 32 minutes, but he'd been the only Nets player who had been playing well the previous 2 or 3 games. I think he is worth a hold through a 1-game week, and I still can't get over how bad Mikal Bridges is. I talked about Jordan Poole being a horrible pick. But what's a worse pick this season? Picking Jordan Poole in, say, back-end 3rd round, taking Mikal Bridges in the top 15, or taking Walker Kessler in the 3rd round? They all stink. They're all terrible. I don't know which one's worse. Bridges, 17 points. Cool. 39 minutes. 39% shooting. And for as much as this bloke, as I play every game, he is exhausted. He's never missed a game, as we all know. That's part of his legend. His colon has got to be just absolutely looking like a nuclear wasteland after eating Chipotle every day for years and years and years. He played in the Olympics. He plays a ton of minutes, and he's overtasked as a number 1 option. At some point, my guy, you are going to break down. I don't want that to happen, but I am telling you it is going to happen. It is 100% going to happen, and I just hope it doesn't. But it will. Bridges is a buy low at the moment. You definitely don't drop him, especially don't even consider it with a 1-game week. Do not consider it. So it is maybe a buy low chance if someone is really struggling and then sees the 1-gamer, and I would throw any top 100 guy to go and get Bridges. Claxo played 34 minutes, 23 and 13. That meant that Dayron Sharp only got 9. Sharp is more of a streamer than anything else, while Dinwiddie had 23, 3 and 4. I think I already said that. What I would watch for here. Now, sometimes I chuck out some little nuggets. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Jalen Wilson, but I'd watch Dennis Smith. 25 minutes, 13, 12, and 7 with 2 steals. Dennis Smith has somehow an unbelievably good fantasy game. He rebounds, he gets assists, he gets steals, he blocks shots. He can do so many different things. This team is all over the shop. There are elements of Nets fandom, blogdom, whatever it is, calling for, hey, maybe we should just start Dennis Smith instead of Spencer Dinwiddie. And if there are trades that do go down and Dinwiddie is out, I would not be shocked to see a top 60 run from Dennis Smith. I am in no way suggesting that you add Dennis Smith Jr. as a 12-team league player at all. Although, those numbers are clearly good enough. Especially with a one-game week coming up. But they play on Sunday, so there's definitely streamable value there for him. But he's just someone to watch that if we hear something developing with Dinwiddie, I'll be all about getting myself Dennis Smith. Just something to watch. Finney Smith was shithouse. He's a 14-team league guy at this point, at best. Let us go on to the next one. Is that the correct one? I don't think it is. Let me figure out where I'm at. No, it was correct. I'm just dumb. The Minnesota Timberwolves, guess what happened? They blew out the Rockets, 122-95. Did Karl Anthony Towns get a block? Yes, he did. First one since December 16th. 22-8-6. Big bounce back from a guy who had been slumping. While Goose had 24-3-4. Anthony Edwards and Gobert 13-12 with 2 steals, 2 blocks. Alexander Walker also chipped in a Richie Beno. 2 threes, 2 steals, 2 blocks in 18 minutes. He also had 3 assists. We don't really need to worry about him too much. The 2 big question marks for 12s are the Wizard of Oz, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels, and both of them had 16 points. 30 minutes for McDaniels, 25 for Reid, 16-7-2 for Reid with a block, 16-3 for McDaniels in 30 minutes. I would prefer Reid over McDaniels in a 12, but I think they're both just fringe guys and not must roster. We are pretty clearly jacking Kyle Anderson.
Get that garbage out of here.
Even though 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals is good, he's a stream guy only, and Conley just didn't have a good game, 8, 2, and 5. But again, this was a blowout, so we got my man Josh Minart out there. Unfortunately, just not enough minutes. For the Rockets, Jabari Smith, 16-9 with 3 threes. Nice. Good game. Şengün, 19-5 in 33 minutes. Not ideal, but okay. Van Vliet suffered a bit of a knee problem, but he was fine. He played through it. 7 points only. He stinks, but a steal, a block, and 8 assists gets it done. Another banger from Cam Whitmore. Just something to watch. Now, of course, Eason and Brooks are both out, and that's opening up these minutes for Whitmore. 11-2 with 2 steals, 40%. He looks pretty good. He's not going to be a 12 ad at all. Well, not unless something major happens. But he looks okay. The wild thing went scoreless in 21 minutes. He just shouldn't be an NBA rotation player, in my opinion. While Amen Thompson, 6-7, an assist, 2 steals, but the shooting numbers are bad for him. You do not need to roster Amen outside of dynasties or deeper formats. Just watching the Whitmore stuff. Filipino legend Jalen Green did a Jalen Green thing. He had 20 points, which is a great way to start off a box score. Hit 4 threes, but 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, bad field goals, bad free throws is why he's shit for category leagues. He's a must-hold for points leagues. For categories,
Get that garbage out of here.
thank you, Jack Armstrong. The next game we go to is the Charlotte Hornets against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls win 104-91. Let's look at the Charlotte side. They were without LaMelo Ball, doubtful legend Mark Williams, Gordon Hayward, and then P.J. Washington left after 6 minutes. We can jack P.J.
Get that garbage out of here.
Still holding Big Dick Nick, although he only had 4 points in 27 minutes. He did have 12 rebounds. He's a hold. Brandon Miller, yeah. I find it really hard at this point. I'm really torn on Brandon Miller because everyone being out suggests to me I should hold him. Yeah, I should be rostering him. But what about any of his performances suggest that he is a 12-team league guy? Like nothing. He's nowhere near it. He's 172nd for the season. He's nowhere near being a 12-team league player. But with everyone out, you think at some point something's going to happen, but no. He had 9 points in 23 minutes on 23%. It stinks. Rozier struggled, 15 points on 29%. Miles Bridges played 42 minutes. And Cody Martin played 36. Don't worry about his knees. 13-5 with 2 steals and 3 threes. But I did tell you about Cody Martin that Steve Clifford will love this bloke. He will play him because he loves him. In 14-teamers, I'm marginally interested in Cody. I'm not much more than that, while Nick Smith had 10 in 16. I don't know that you drop Brandon Miller, but I do know in a 10-teamer, I'd be absolutely, totally fine with dropping Brandon Miller. And my projections actually hate him for the rest of the season. That's assuming that we get Ball, Williams, and Hayward to play a bloody game. But who knows if that happens. For the Bulls, both Levine and Vooch were back. They both came off the bench. 25 minutes for Vooch, 11, 7, and 3 on 41%. It's the same Vooch as old. He's the same. It's the same sort of shit that he was doing before he got hurt. And Levine had 30 minutes, 15, 5, and 4. At least he was back. So what happened to Kobe White? Well, he played 40 minutes. He had 22, 10, and 6, and shot 58%. he will not play 40 minutes every night, but Levine played basically starters minutes. That's starters minutes. Now, what we do have to factor in here is that both Pat Williams and Alex Caruso were out, so that did help float the numbers. But hopefully nobody preemptively dropped Kobe White. DeRozan, look, that's not great, is it? 17, 1 and 6, but the 3 steals is a nice little bonus. He has been playing much better. And we got 40 minutes from Ayo Dosunmu. 12, 5 and 4, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And he's had a couple of decent games. But again, Caruso, Williams, Levine, all coming back is going to kill him. You can drop the big avocado, I think. 7 and 10 with a steal and 3 blocks. Although, I know that I don't believe this. But I'm not going to completely rule out that they just say, maybe we just play Drummond 23 a night and Vooch 25, because if you'd watched Vooch this season, and I hate that phrase, because I don't mean to sound like you haven't watched, because I know that you have, but watching the Bulls games, like Vucevic has not played well at all. And maybe they actually do better with Drummond in that lineup next to DeRozan and Levine. That is possible. Drummond is not a better player than Nikola Vucevic, I don't think. But in terms of fit, he might be. I'll say it's like a 1% chance. I'm not going to rule it out, though, that Drummond continues to play 22 minutes a night starting. I think if you needed to make an ad or you needed to do something with your injured reserve and add someone off it to activate them, you'd be okay dropping Drummond. But I'm not going to rule out some sort of weird minute split. Pretty good for the Bulls to win a game starting Dalen Terry. He had 8 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Obviously, we're not caring too much about that one. Somehow we still got 9 minutes of the Red Rooster, even though Vooch was back. I guess that's because Patrick Williams was not available to play. What do you reckon about the next game? Blowout? Yes. The Clippers beat the Pelicans 111-95, the final score here. It wasn't actually as close as that final score suggests. We had over 6 minutes of garbage time in this game. Paul George played 30 minutes, 24 and 7. Kawhi had 19 and 9, and Zubats had 15 and 8 with 2 blocks. That's what I've heard from 2 people recently when I put out that thing about, hey, what's the all Josh hates this guy team. I don't hate really any players at all. There are just some guys that I have opinions that they're not as good as some others think. That's all it is. But 2 people said, man, Josh, you hate anybody that comes from the former Yugoslavia. Okay. You don't even give enough praise to Jokic, is what someone told me. Okay, that's crazy to me, because I feel like I've been one of the earliest on Jokic. I was big on Zubats coming across. I was, actually pretty high on Pokuševski. I like Bogdanovic. It was weird to me. And then someone else said to me today, why does Josh hate all Croatian players like Zubats? Sometimes what we think of a player makes you skew the way that others view them, because there's just nothing that's remotely true about that from the way that I speak or what I know deep inside how I feel. But obviously it comes across that way to a certain cohort of people. But anyway, Zubats, the stinky big bastard, sucked. 15 and 8 in 23 minutes. What's he even doing in the NBA? What's he doing here? He shouldn't be here. 15 and 8 in 23 minutes with 2 blocks. He continues to form a really strong partnership with Harden and put up some good numbers. We got Mason. What's that guy's name? Mason Plumlee. He played 7 minutes. Likely again blowout related. We'll see how they go with him and Tice, but that's just deeper league stuff. Well, Westbrook got some extra minutes in the blowout too. 8, 5 and 5, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Really good game from Russ. Don't care, not adding him. Harden had 8, 3 and 13, but overall again just a blowout. And for the Pelicans, Zion left early. They called it a leg contusion. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but there you go. And he had 12 and 6. And again, blowouts ruining everything. Trey Murphy continues to really struggle. Really struggle. 3 points, 17 minutes, 11%. There were a lot of victory laps on Trey Murphy for his first game back. I really like Trey Murphy, but he's a back-end player, unfortunately. McCollum had 12 and 6. Valanciunas played 23 minutes for 13 and 11. And Jones had 9 points in 25. He did have a steal and a block. I still maintain that Jones is just a stream-level player. Larry Nance is more of a 14-teamer, 7 and 6 there. But what do I even take out of this game where, again, it was such a blowout? The minutes were reduced. It's so hard to make fully blown decisions on a game like this. So I guess we get some relief from blowouts in the next one. Guess not, because Dallas beats Portland 139-103. A lot of players out. Ayton was out, obviously, for the Blazers. No Jabari Walker, no Moses Brown. Matisse Thybulle left early. He should be leaving your rosters early as well. Malcolm Brogdon, 4 points in 16 minutes. Told you he was a sell high.
Get that garbage out of here.
Yeah, you're obviously not rostering him in 12-team leagues. Obviously. What about Scooter, though? 17, 3 and 10, 33 minutes. Again, I like the minutes that are being pumped in here. He should be rostered. Jeremy Grant, nice numbers in low minutes. 18 in 23 minutes. He had 3 steals and a block, while Shaden Sharp, much better game, 15 and 5. Dwight Reith, 27 minutes and 16 and 7 is strong, but I don't know how long Ayton is going to be out. I don't know how reliable Reith is. Actually, I know he's not. That's just a stream option, while it was a stinker from Simon. 6 points on 13% shooting. He is 110th over the last 2 weeks now. A really big drop from that initial boost that he had when he came in. They started Reith over Bargy, despite starting Bargy the last game. And Tamani Kamara continues to get minutes and only be like a 20-team league sort of a player. Not a lot to talk about there. For the Mavericks, they were without. You'd be shocked to know that Derek Lively was out. What a shock. Why did they list him questionable? He was never going to play. Lively was out. Williams was out. Exum was out. And Doncic was out. Kyrie played 29 minutes, 24, 9 and 5, with 2 steals, 2 blocks, fantastic. Jaden Hardy really excelled, 19, 9 and 9. You don't get that from Hardy on 57% shooting. When Doncic is out, he's a stream guy. Joshy Green had a good game, 14, 5 and 5, and Derek Jones had 12 points with 3 steals. Timmy Hardaway, 19 with 3 threes. But honestly, this is one of those piss-easy games you'll ever see. Everyone was able to get in on the action. AJ Lawson had 14 points in 25 minutes. What am I taking away out of this? Like, Dwight Powell had 9 boards in 26. I don't think that Doncic is going to miss the next one. Exum should be back. I don't know about Lively, but I know I'm not streaming in Dwight Powell. So, all this is great. If Doncic remains out and Exum's out, then yeah, I'll try Hardy, but it just doesn't tell me anything. And that's really a real issue with so much of the action today. And finally, we get a close game. In fact, a cracking game. The Orlando Magic... 122 beat the Nuggets 120. Wow. Without let me rephrase this. This is the Magic on the road without Franz Wagner, Markel Fultz, Wendell Carter, Goga Badadze, Jonathan Isaac, Joe Ingles, Gary Harris. And then Anthony Black left after 4 minutes. So they were running with 8 players and no starters. Paulo Banchero carried hard. Now, his efficiency wasn't very good, but 32, 10, and 11. He sprained his ankle as well the other day. 3 steals, 38 from the field, 79 from the line. He continues to be huge. I'm very glad that I included him on my list of players unlucky not to make my All-Star team. Maybe he makes it later on. I don't know. Mo Wagner, this is what the man could do. 19 and 11 in 38 minutes with 2 threes. He's a very, very, very good offensive center. The problem is there's not enough minutes on most nights, but if Goga and Wendell remain out, then yeah, we would be using Mo Wagner. And Cole Anthony had a big opportunity, and he took advantage. 23, 2, and 4. He's on that list for me with Quentin Grimes. Guys who would flourish as top 70 players if they found a proper role. I don't know that he's going to get that role, but it was good. Suggs continues to look unbelievable. I don't think that he's going to win the most improved player, but he should be close. 27 points, 7 threes, 34 minutes. He can be up and down, we know this with his shooting, but he's just cool. He's just cool. They started Chuma Okeke. He had 3 points. I didn't really like that decision. I don't think Chuma is really the guy. He had a 1-1, while Caleb Houston played 24 minutes, 8 points and 2 threes. Not much going on there. And Trevelyan Quinn played 31 minutes. He's a guy who puts up big numbers in the G League. He had 5 points only, but 2 steals and a block. These are just names to watch. Queen, Okeke, and Houston, if these injuries persist. Anthony Black, he was sick apparently. I don't know why, if he was sick, they started him. I don't really understand the point of that. But they did, and he did nothing. I would say that his rookie season has shown some good defensive flashes, but he's struggled in a lot of other areas. For the Nuggets, this is a really poor loss. It is a back-to-back, but 37 minutes for Jokic, 29, 4 and 8 with 3 steals. Michael Ponder, after a disappointing game last time out, 22 points with 4 threes, and Aaron Gordon, Kanon Whisperer, 16 and 8 in his 36. The headmaster had 20 and 7 with 9 assists, and KCP still not beating the stream allegation. 6 points, 29 minutes, 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 gigantic jack-off.
Get that garbage out of here.
Peyton Watson had been playing well, and he did not do that here. He is not a 12-team league guy. He's a streamable 12-team league player who you look at more in 14 to 16 teamers, but I still am very excited for his future. Reggie Jackson, the minutes for Reggie have dropped off significantly since the start of the season, not including the part where he started for Murray, but he was getting like 21, 22 as a bench player. Now he's like a 17-minute-a-night bench player. So, nice little game there. Did we get away from the blowouts in the next one? Well, not really. The Suns took care of the undermanned Heat 113-97. No Butler, no Martin, no Highsmith. It does appear that Butler is going to miss some time. I believe he's been sent back to Miami. Oh, actually, sorry. Their next game is at home, so maybe he is available to play in that one. But yeah, old mate General Soreness, he was out here. They were there. They didn't have a bunch of guys, and they got waxed as expected. Bam Adebayo did his best work that he could, 28 and 11. And look, I can't believe this is happening, but Kevin Love continues to play well. 20 and 7 in 20 minutes. That's at least streamable. Jaime Jaquez shot 71%, which is great, but 7 shots? He had 10 points, he had 2 steals, he had 35 minutes. He's been a revelation. He's probably been... I'm trying to think. I'd say he's probably third in Rookie of the Year at this point, but that also doesn't mean that he's not being highly, highly, highly overrated in many different circles, and I do believe that he will end up being a 12-team drop. He's not now, but he will be. Just a stinker from Hero. 9 points on 24% with 6 assists. While Jovic, little chunga, started, and he went back to being Nikola Jovic. 3 points, 24 minutes, and is not really, and by not really, I mean absolutely not, a startable or a rotation player in the NBA. Maybe this is why people think I don't like people from the former Yugoslavia. 4 points for Dunky Robinson in 27 minutes. He had been playing pretty well. He's still an okay 12-team league option, but it's not a long-term thing. While Lowry double-cheeked up for 6 points in 23 minutes with 2 threes. Just a bad game. But let's talk about a good game, actually, because Josh Richardson played well. He got to 29 minutes in his second game back. 10, 8, and 7 with 3 steals. I don't think that we're adding him, but he is higher up on the priority list in terms of streaming while these guys are out. You'll be stunned to know that Kevin Durant was out again with a hamstring strain. Oh, what a shock that is, that he's going to miss a week. Yeah, who could have predicted that apart from people with common sense? He might return on Sunday. Don't be shocked if he's out on that one as well. Durant was out. Gordon was out. Nasir Littleface was out. But what about Grayson Allen? You might hate the bloke for things that he's done. Cool. But you cannot deny that he's been unbelievably good. A top 70 player this season who is still unbelievably available in many, many leagues. Ridiculous. 31 points for Grayson. 9 threes with 2 blocks. Brad Beal. 25, 7, and 9. I know it was been a terrible start to the season, but he's rolling amazingly. Devin Booker, 20 and 5 with 10 assists and 2 steals, a good game. Nurkic got hit in the face, never returned. He had 6 points with 9 rebounds. I think he'd be okay. While the Bol train came to a Bol stop. 4 and 3 in 10 minutes with a block for the thin fella. He is obviously not a 12-team league guy. He has been added in 12-team leagues, and he should not be. And you can go ahead, and I always love jacking Bol off.
Get that garbage out of here!
And there was just a bunch of minimum bullshit between Okogie and Metu and Eubanks and Bates Diop and Watanabe. No one doing enough for me to care. But it was interesting to see 22 minutes of Drew Eubanks back in the rotation. Was that because Metu was playing at power forward and they wanted Eubanks at center? But Metu had that little jump up and he's fallen back off again, which is, I guess, relatively predictable. All right, the final 3 games. Weird to have 3 games on right at the end of the night, but of course it was an extraordinarily big slate. The first one here in Sacramento, Toronto 130, Sacramento 136. Barnesy played 35 minutes. He had 20 and 4, 6 assists, 2 blocks. He just continues to do those things. Didn't take a free throw, but still really good numbers, and he has really established himself in this groove now, while Pascal Siakam, who was rumored apparently to be getting traded to the Kings before this game until Shams said that the Kings pulled out. Yeah, that's fine, because I don't think the Sabonis and Siakam frontcourt fit is all that good. I don't know how that would have worked, but we'll see where Siakam ends up. He had 18, 4, and 9 with 2 steals and a block. Pirtle fouled out. That's why we got 23 minutes. But still 14 and 6 with 3 blocks. He's got a real chance to roll home as like even a top 40 guy, I'd say. While Quickly played 38 minutes. Yeah, let's go. 20 points, 8 assists, 4 threes, 35%. Huge. There was no Gary Trent in this, so we got 32 Dennis Schroeder minutes, 18, 2, and 3, and Rowan Barrett played only 27 because guess why? He's not good. He's not that good. You absolutely do not need to roster him.
Get that garbage out of here!
We got 28 minutes for the wiki, Chris Boucher. He had 14 and 9. Don't think this is a resurgence for Boucher, who is the 304th ranked player this season. This is because Pirtle was in foul trouble, of course, and Kristen Koloko is whatever was going on with him. Don't do that. Well, deeper leagues might want to look a little bit at Jonte Porter, who had 10 points in his 13 minutes for the Kings. Another triple-double for Sabonis, 24, 15, 11 on 69% shooting, while Fox was great after a couple of really poor ones. 24, 2 and 4, 2 steals, 50% shooting. We love that. And Keegan Murray also doubled for 19 and 13. Not a lot to talk about with them, except that the pencil Harrison Barnesy dropped in 16 points with 5 threes in 34 minutes on 42%. And Malik Monk, we're finally getting Mike Brown going, yeah, like he's one of our best players. Why don't we play him like that? This absolute insistence of Monk being a sixth man and playing 25 minutes was insane. He still is a sixth man, but we're not mucking around with Duarte's and Herters or anything like that. Monk had 15, 1 and 9 in 38 minutes for Leaky, while Duarte had 10 points in his 17. We are not rostering him anywhere, and he played more than Herter, who had 3 points in 14. He has lost all confidence. Mike Brown has lost all confidence in Herter, and my call to jack him game 1 is looking all right.
Get that garbage out of here.
Not much else going on in that one, I don't think, so we'll go to the next one as the Memphis Grizzlies on the road beat what's the term that they would use? The beleaguered Lakers. The Darvin Ham roasting over an open fire Lakers. 127-113. I don't think they're going to fire Ham, but I don't know. Jaren Jackson, 31-9 with 3 blocks. They didn't believe in us. Triple J did. 79% shooting for him. Good bounce back. While Desi Bain, 13 assists. Yikes. What the hell? Don't expect that, obviously. 24-5 and 13. Morant had 21-7 and 7. And we also got a good game from Marcus Smart, which had been lacking. But we were preaching some patience and to hold there. He had 29. 2 and 5 with 8 triples helps when you play the Lakers. And of course, Xavier Tillman, who started last game, played 12 minutes. Bismack Biyombo, who played 0 minutes last game, played 31. He had 6 and 10, just telling you that you don't roster Biyombo or you don't roster Tillman because it is going to be a consistent shit show. There was no Vince Williams here, so Zaire Williams played 20 minutes. He had 15 points. He has been still a huge disappointment and nothing we need to really rely upon. And not a good game when the Duck Luke Kennard scores 0 points. He played 20 minutes. He still is in that stream zone, but we're not relying upon it. And Santi Aldama, still people rostering him for some reason. 0 points in 9 minutes. At least he generated a steal, but yeah, that's not happening for the Lakers. 40 minutes for Austin Reeves. 19, 7, 12, 2 steals, 1 block. Good. The dicking around for 10 weeks was ridiculous. They didn't win, of course, but we're getting some numbers out of him. He was also, though, watch this, a minus 23. LeBronny had 32, 5 and 7 with 5 steals, a huge game for him, while Davis 31 and 6 in 41 minutes. The fact that we are getting gigantic seasons from LeBron and Davis, injury-free with big minutes, and they're still not winning is absolutely terrifying. If one of these guys actually gets hurt, this team won't win a game for a month. The artist formerly known as Torian Prince was fine. 10 points, 3 threes, 2 steals, a block. They play Sunday, so you could hold now if you've still got him, while Reddish continues to be Cam Reddish. LeBron didn't magically turn him into a good player. He still sucks. 8 points, 32 minutes, 2 threes. Not much else going on there. Not a good game for Max Christie. I still believe in Max Christie long term, but not for this season, while Vanderbilt played 17 minutes for 0 points. Cool, good for him. The final game of the day, we made it. It is the Detroit Pistons and the Golden State Warriors. Pistons put up a good fight, or maybe I say the Warriors put up a good fight because they just won 113, 109. Cade played 35 and he had 30 and 5. Cool. With a block on 59%. He's rolling now, honestly. He is top 40 for the season. Maybe even pushing top 30 -1. Well, Duran had 13 and 12 and Ivy only 24 minutes. Now, 12, 4 and 3 is fine for Ivy. It's the dicking of minutes by coaching legend Monty Williams that is frustrating. His upside is not sky high that you need to hold on to Jaden Ivey. He can do more than this, but you don't need to hold. Stinker from Bogdanovic, 12 and 5 on 26%, while they continued to start Isaiah Livers, cool, don't know why, one of the worst players in the NBA, and play Asar Thompson 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Get that garbage out of here.
He still had 2 steals, but there are a lot of you still holding on to Asar Thompson. This is like Tom Thibodeau and his hair. Like, give it up, you're bald. Like, so am I. LeBron, that meme of LeBron brushing his head. Yeah, just got to get him in. Bro, you're done. It's over. It's finished. Vince Carter, it's done. Drop Asar Thompson. Alec Burks had 13 points in 21 minutes with 3 threes. A really nice stream guy, but I haven't even spoken about the Fort, Kevin Knox, because he had a good game. 13 points. No, he didn't. He played 23 minutes for 18 points with 4 threes and 2 blocks. Imagine Kevin Knox putting up good numbers against you. You'd think that things are coming to an end, wouldn't you? He's at least a deep league sort of interesting guy, while James Wiseman, I did say that Isaiah Livers was the worst player in the NBA, but all he has to do is sort of look down the locker to the next guy and go, bro, what about this guy? Yeah, fair enough. For the Warriors, you leak something out to Shams, then you get to play the most minutes on the team. Johnny Kuminga, the bucket, played 36 minutes, 11 and 6, and that is not a good game by anyone's definition, but the fact that he played 36 means that we've got to roster him. I don't know what happens when Draymond returns, or if Draymond returns, or how fat Draymond will be when he returns, or when this all happens. I've got no idea. So we just keep rolling with him. We keep rolling with Trace Jackson-Davis, even though the lineup that was going to be in place for a while is now dead. He still played 23 off the bench, and that's what's important. 11 and 9 for TJD with a block. He's still a 12-team league guy. So is the Game Boy Brandon Pajemski. He only played 25 minutes, but 11, 5 and 5 is enough. But then Chris Paul got hurt. And surely, if Paul is out with a hand injury, that the Game Boy will move into the starting lineup. He'll play 30 minutes again, and we'll be rocking and rolling. I know it's annoying that these minutes have dropped, but whatever. You hold him. Steph had 26 in 31 minutes, while Šarić was good again, 17 points in his limited minutes, and Looney is... Let's drop. Someone wanted me to drop this on Steve Kerr yesterday, so consider this a Steve Kerr / Kevon Looney combined watch to watch. I could put Klay Thompson on there. He is definitely not the same player as before. And I said yesterday that, hey man, I know everyone loves Klay, and nearly every comment was like, people don't love Klay, people don't like him. I was shocked that people don't like Klay because, yeah, I just didn't think that was the case. Klay had 19 points. That's okay. That's good, actually. He had 2 blocks, but a lot of shots, inefficient, continues to sort of struggle from a fantasy perspective as well. And if we're going to throw the washed watch out there, let's do it again. Because can someone tell me what's going on with Andrew Wiggins?
Get that garbage out of here!
He's still rostered in 59% of 12-team leagues. What are you guys waiting for? What are you doing? Surely there's not one single person in a 12-team league watching this show right now that has Wiggo on their roster. This has got to be the 59% of other leagues that don't tune into this show. Because he had 3 points in 19 minutes. The man's going to be out of the rotation. He's way worse than Kaminsky. Jesus Christ. If you're worse than Frank Kaminsky, you're struggling. He's way worse than Pajemski and Jackson Davis and bloody Moses Moody, who only played the 6 minutes here. And is another one of those like uncut jams that probably needs another spot to really start to flourish. But at least they get a win, and we'll see where that leads us after that. And that was 14 games. I didn't go through and create the whole graphics for Monstrous lineup, but I will tell you who they are. Jaren Jackson was the Monstrous. That was followed by Tatum, Halliburton, Irving, Jokic, and Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen's your waiver wire line of the night. Who is your young gun of the night? It's Jaden Hardy. And your dud of the night is... it's a long list to go down to the bottom of. Malcolm Brogdon, who you can...
Get that garbage out of here!
You can jack off. Because, yeah, that is just not happening. So let's go through my little end of day checklist just to see what little notes we've got. There's quite a bit, obviously, to take out of this day. That is the wrong number. All right, let's bring that back across. What was that? Why did that come across like that? Did this not work? Pause. I was having issues with some of my video processing software, so something happened, but I think we're good now. Here we go. So we're adding Grayson Allen. All right, we're adding Kelly Oubre. The Melton injury, they play tomorrow. Harris is out, maybe. We're adding Scoot Henderson without any questions whatsoever. We're dropping Malcolm Brogdon, but we're also dropping the depressed penis Sadiq Bey, and we are dropping Jaden McDaniels outside of all of the other jacks that I dropped during this show. Andrew Wiggins, one of those. I'm not going to put him and RJ Barrett on this list every day, even though I could. And that'll bring us to the end of this wonderful Friday 14-game recap show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, and award me, ring the notification bell, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and leave your comments down below. We are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.